Hello everybody and welcome back to All for United. Now, Manchester United have beaten Spurs 2-0. What a game it was to start off, but obviously I'll introduce the panel first. So guys, you just want to say hello?
Hi there, you all right?
You all right? Stu?
Yeah, all good, thanks, Dan. All good, thanks.
Everyone good? Are we missing someone?
Yeah, we are. I was just wondering, where is he?
I think it might be Cali,
We'll just carry on. I'll just being a message. He's got the link in the thing on there, so we'll be fine. So yeah, we'll just get on to the game. So what a game it was, first of all, to Man United. One of the best games we've played this season, to be honest. So guys, you want to follow on how you thought the game, how we played and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do you want me to start? I'll start, Dan, if you want.
Yeah, feel free. Everyone to jump on it.
I mean, funnily enough, I missed the first 10 minutes. I've been footballing and I've had kids football as well, so I've had like double tandem tonight. So I've been on and off, which is the reason I couldn't sort of help cover tonight. But I'm on panel, which I'm pleased I am because I like reacting. So I missed the first 10 minutes. I know we'd had a few early chances, and then we picked up kind of from there. Really, just an unbelievable performance. I think all around. I think you didn't notice the back four. I didn't notice Martinez too much. Didn't notice who else? Didn't notice Varane too much. He did his job. And when you don't notice defenders as well, you just know they're having a great game. Casemiro, I think, is starting to come into his own. I thought Casemiro had an absolutely fantastic game, winning the second ball, winning the 60-40 challenges. Just brilliant and playing it forward. I thought it was fantastic. I thought Anthony was good. He grew into the game. Was able to sort of probe us going forward. There's more to come from him, definitely, in terms of his delivery at his end and his final ball. Sancho, I don't think once again he's still in that debate segment for me. But generally, I thought there's still more to come from him, and I think he showed a bit of confidence. But generally, I thought he was probably the weakest player in the starting 11. Generally, but didn't have a terrible game. Dalot was excellent. Shaw was brilliant. De Gea was fantastic. I thought he was brilliant when called upon. Obviously, it was offside towards the end with Kane's chance, but it was brilliant. His distribution was good. Rashford probably shows his naivety when it comes to being in that number 9 position, maybe taking chances when you get a sniff at goal. Wasn't quick enough maybe to some of those chances that he had. Generally, in behind, he was quick. And Bruno, who I thought had a typical Bruno performance where he's up and down, drastically down with some of his passes, but then drastically up with some of his chances that he takes. And I thought the fact that, as sadly as it sounds, Ronaldo not being on the pitch helped him. Eriksen not being there as well also helped him. And it was a solid performance. Were Spurs just very, very poor, or United very, very good? I think it was a combination of probably both in a way. But best performance of the season so far, hands down, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there, Reece. Yeah, it was like I said, like you just said, one of the United's best games of the season by a mile. I've not seen United play dominant that dominant in ages, really, even under different managers. So these players are obviously changing how they're playing and actually improving every game. And obviously, we've had a few shaky games recently with Ammonia and Newcastle, but as a whole, United had a really good game tonight, and obviously, will that continue? We don't know. I've said many times on this channel that there'll be many nights like the Liverpool match and Arsenal match, and there'll be many nights like City and Brentford. So it's just one of them. So obviously tonight it's a very good result for Manchester United, but will they stay consistent? So Stu, what's your thoughts on the consistency with Manchester United? Do you think this is going to be a one-off game, or do you think that Man United can actually keep this consistency going? Because I know you're a big thing with consistency.
Yeah, well, I was a little bit like Reece tonight. So I watched the first half in the car because I was playing tonight. So I saw some of the second half, but not everything. But look, from what I saw, I thought it was an interesting game from both teams. Certainly from ourselves, the way that we've pressed better with an aggression than what I've seen in the last 2 to 3 weeks in terms of pressing. But as we've spoken before, you don't have to press with aggression. Pressing is about position. And I think we got that side of the game right tonight, where we positioned ourselves to press, allowed us to not suffocate Tottenham, but give them a little tickle around the throat, which we haven't done, as I said, for a long, long time. I thought, interestingly, as Reece quite pointed out, I thought Bruno was better. And I've said this before, I think the Eriksen-Bruno dynamic doesn't work. I'm not so sure about the Bruno-Ronaldo dynamic. I didn't really pick up on that, but the Eriksen and Bruno dynamic for definite. I think when Eriksen isn't in there, then it allows Bruno to cover the spaces that he wants to cover. When Eriksen and Bruno are on the pitch, they want to cover each other's spaces, so it's a bit of an issue. You started to see a little bit of understanding from Casemiro and Fred. Again, I'm really speaking from the first half onwards. I have seen the goals when I came off the pitch, so I have seen them. So I thought that was quite good. I think Reece is right. I think Casemiro is starting to understand English football better, and he's doing what he should do. He's doing the simple things, and again, that's exactly what a good CDM should do. Just do the simple things. So I think all in all, I thought we defended okay. Varane had a couple of dodgy moments. Not quite sure why. Just took his eye off the ball, or just wasn't quite sure of his positioning. Dalot looked decent tonight. I thought Luke Shaw looks very, very comfortable. So I thought all in all, we can't be too disappointed. We can't get too excited. We're kind of in that transition still. You've got to understand how football is really. And for me, it's okay. It's an improvement, but we've just got to keep going baby steps at a time. And if we keep doing this, then we'll progress up the league. But I think we've got to all take into account that we limited Spurs to not a huge amount of efforts. They're very, very quiet in the second half. Harry Kane was offside anyway, but he didn't look anywhere near the player that he's been the last couple of weeks. And Son was just starting to get his groove, and that's now been stopped. We smashed that tonight as well. So I think ultimately, Ten Hag will have questions still, and so he should. The players themselves will have questions still, so they should. The fans have got questions still, and so we should. Let's see where we go at Chelsea. Chelsea have had a dodgy result tonight, so where's Dan gone? So let's see how we do against Chelsea, and then we'll take it from there. But, we've beaten Tottenham, Arsenal, Liverpool so far this season, so it can't be too bad. Ben, how you doing, mate?
All good, all good.
Yeah, well, without Daniel, all's yours.
I thought it was a very good performance. I thought the thing for me that struck me from minute one to the end was application in everybody's job, the collective job, going forward, coming back, off the ball, attitude to track back, attitude to chase, but chase with purpose and not just for the sake of it. I thought Casemiro perfectly illustrated what a DM can do once he's up to speed, both with the league he's in and the system he's playing within. Doing the simplistic things very, very well is a very hard thing to do. And that's what you want from an elite level DM, is being able to do that consistently all the time, because the simplistic things are what allow the team to move forward and be able to do the technical things that they need to do. I felt a bit for Marcus because he put in an absolute shift. His endeavour was spot on. His movement, his off the ball, his work rate, his running, his creating space, getting into positions was all on point. It was just that little bit of calmness under coming on when he's coming under the final shot. He just needs to. That was the only bit that was lacking in it really for him, because I think if he deserved a goal from his performance. I thought Bruno was very, very good. God knows what Fred has had for breakfast. But chapeau to him. I mean, that man's got one hell of a constitution, because the amount of abuse he gets, but he never shies away, which you can't but admire. I think Dalot's come on exponentially since he's been under Ten Hag in his ability to not just understand what a modern right back is, but then all the positions he's taking up when we move forward. Anthony played well. Sancho played well. He just, for me, it's like he gets to the point where he's got the defender right where he wants him, and then he just doesn't have that belief in himself yet to go that extra mile and actually skin him. Because he's done all the hard work, getting him isolated, and then that easy bit for him, because of his ability and pace, he then doesn't do it. He then just stops, recycles, and obviously sometimes you need to recycle the ball, not just take them on for the sake of it. But there were times in that game where he could have done that and absolutely killed the player, but he just didn't do it. It was almost like he needed to take a leaf out of Anthony's book. I love Martinez. I love everything about him, his attitude, his commitment, his desire to just not just keep a clean sheet, but just win every battle he goes in. I thought he had Kane on toast in him, constantly keeping him tight and close. Kane's touch then had to be absolutely on point to roll him, which it wasn't throughout the game. Hence why towards the end you could see him getting frustrated and going deeper and deeper to get the ball. Son, I thought today's game perfectly illustrated. Son's a very, very good player, but if he's not involved in the game, he's a dead weight. And no, I thought overall it was very, very good. But again, that's the barometer we set now. We now have to see that we replicate that against Chelsea, because we've shown we can do it for 90 minutes now. Great teams go and do that consistently week in, week out, and that's what we need to aspire to get to.
Yeah, I completely agree. Manchester United obviously played really well tonight, and that's what I was talking about before when I asked you the question is about, can United keep this consistency up? And I said in my Newcastle preview that obviously I feel like Newcastle was the harder game out of the 3 games, and people will call me crazy, but I just personally think that Newcastle are a team that are harder to break down, because I feel like Newcastle have their Spurs have their weaknesses, Chelsea have their weaknesses, and I feel like that we'll get 6 points from these 2 games, and I called tonight scored 2-0. So I just thought that it was a very good game. The press was perfect in my eyes. I feel like certain players who have had poor games recently have really stepped up tonight, and hopefully they can keep this consistency up. So who wants to go on the next question? The question is, who is your man of the match so far for the game?
So that'll be you.
Was it Mick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good evening, gents.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I just spent 4 minutes running around screaming my lungs out. I'm super gassed. I'm almost positive this season. It's a rebuild, as I'm always said. I thought I would say just a winner. We will have Spurs for dinner. So this is what happened. I thought in general it was a 9 out of 10 performance. My man of the match is the whole team, as we've defended as a whole team. It was a collective team effort, clean sheet. We're clearly seeing what Erik Ten Hag is trying to accomplish. It's like, it started with a blank canvas, coming in fresh as a new manager, assessing the whole squad, starting to draw on that canvas, seeing what's working, what's not working. And today, I think it was the best performance I've ever seen in years. Like the intricate passes of triangles and passes playing from the back. De Gea didn't even sweat, like he didn't even have a shot. The defense was solid. Martinez pocketed Kane. Son, where was Son? Varane took care of Son. I mean, Casemiro, what a difference. We missed that donut hole for years. Like, we didn't replace Carrick. So that's actually the first replacement of Carrick that we've seen. So I'm generally having goosebumps by watching this performance. Was a little bit nervous, I cannot lie. Woke up this morning like, how's this going to end? But as the game progressed, as the second half kicked on, we were constantly in possession of the ball, which is the Erik Ten Hag way of playing. So I think I saw a stat about 77% ball possession. I mean, Spurs didn't even come off the starting blocks. Like, so I see this as a blip? No, I see this as a starting point today. Like, there's a lot of, I did a, pre-match warm-up on my channel, and there was a lot of people was negative towards Fred. I thought Fred had his best game. He was really, really good today. I mean, to pick up one single man of the match out of that team, it's really hard. I don't know you lot, but Varane, I don't know. I thought Martinez was good, but Casemiro, he's made a huge difference, and in this game as well, right? if we didn't have Casemiro, Fred wouldn't be able to roam forward as he did. Scott McTominay came in, did a great performance. The substitutions was spot on with Scott McTominay in and Langa. So I'm trying to digest the man of the match, but I can't pick one, to be honest. Like, you know, the whole team performance was I don't know. Man of the match, Ten Hag. I don't know. I'm just gassed. I don't know. I can send you my gas bill afterwards.
No worries, pal. So like you said though about Casemiro, I really liked that because I've personally said myself that Casemiro is a player who brings so much to the team and just won't get your headlines because he won't be the one scoring all the goals, even though he had an amazing shot that nearly took the net off, but obviously it was just off target. But Casemiro, I think, is a complete difference. I say Casemiro was one of our most crucial players,
100%.
and thankfully he doesn't have a very bad injury record. So hopefully he's a very secure player in that starting 11. And I know that Eriksen being missed out, we missed him against Newcastle. But I feel like if you put McTominay in Eriksen's position or Fred in this
But did you just see the difference?
case, they can do a better
those
shift
minutes.
if you put them in Casemiro's position. So,
Yeah.
you can see the difference. And Casemiro's one of the best holding midfielders in Europe. He's been that for the last 5 to 7 years. He's been absolutely world class. But Cal, I'll go on to you now. What are your thoughts on Ronaldo leaving the tunnel early now? Obviously, it might not be anything major. It might just be media making a massive scene out of it because obviously Ronaldo haters. But you must sense his frustration how Alanga's being brought on over Cristiano Ronaldo, and that you can probably sense his frustration why he's so annoyed. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you think he should have stayed till the end of the match, or do you think he has every right to storm off?
Is that to me? All right. Sorry, I just have a few thoughts, but I'll start off with the Ronaldo one because it actually ties in with my first thought as well. Look, I have no sympathy for Ronaldo. That's number one. So there is no reason to storm off because no one else does it. It's not normal behavior. There is no one else doing this thing. That's why no one else is getting photographed walking down the tunnel for absolutely no reason. So it's not even above board for any professional footballer. And also we say the word professional. So, I mean, then that completely goes against that as well. So when it comes to that, I really don't, and also, I mean, tied into Rashford's performance, I mean, he did everything except, of course, the goal. But you can actually see what happens when you have a more mobile number 9 who's probably doing a lot more things which the coach has asked. It means that he doesn't have to score. He creates space for others to score. So if you actually, I'm sure probably Stu will analyze the game a lot more when you rewatch it or something. And if you look at Rashford's performance, you'll see he did pretty much everything that you want your modern striker. What we crying out for,
100%.
and now we obviously need a better striker, an actual striker to come in there to do that job, but more consistently because it's like a natural part of their game, So I do think, when you don't have Ronaldo, someone who is a little bit slower or someone who wants to take a shot every single time. Today, you actually saw there was a little bit more thought process before the shot. And always what we want to do is grab the ball the moment we are in front of goal, we take a shot, and then we lose the ball. And then it's on the counter, and then it's transition. And today we had less transitions because what we did is we kept the ball a lot more, and we literally kept the pressure on them in their own half. So that was really vital how we recycled the ball, got it back, reloaded it again, back to the sides. We've just followed real football principles, probably from a Erik Ten Hag point of view. So I think, that part was, for me, that was the best thing for me because watching us do that for a full 90, that is sort of watching Arsenal just before last season, last 10 games. Then you start seeing they're doing it for 60 minutes, they're doing it for 65 minutes, they're doing it for 70 minutes. And then eventually now they're starting to do it for 85, 90 minutes where they are dominant in terms of doing the principles correctly. So the principles have to be kept. So essentially you can't have Ronaldo putting his hands up because he's tired, because once you do that, you literally let someone else free, the number 6 can create because there's enough space. So for me, I love that performance in terms of that. And sorry, the last thing is I'm still actually waiting for Martinez to struggle in the air. I don't know if anyone else. I've been really waiting for the game which he struggles in the air, but none of that is happening. And I do think that having Casemiro, like you were saying, it's not just his nous or whatever, but also it's just that technical quality when he attacks the ball. So you see the moment where he loses the ball, the counter press, it's legs completely wide, outstretched to win the ball really quickly, aggressive again. That's what we've been lacking. Our tackles normally we've been soft and players get past, but now it's crunching. Everything is crunching. Martinez gets in there, he gets in front, crunching, wins the ball. It's confident. So I do think, those types of things, even first time passing as well. Fred, his technical, what do you call it? That thing where so for example, if you give Bernardo Silva the ball, he'll do certain things the exact same way over and over, and he won't lose the ball. He'll keep the ball. Fred will literally have this volatile thing where sometimes he's fantastic with the ball.
He's inconsistent, Fred, isn't he? He can do something. He can do something very good, and then he can do something very poor.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that technical volatility sort of thing. And then if you see Casemiro a lot more when he's fitter now, you can see he does the basics really well. The ball comes to his feet, he recycles. The pass is in front of you. The pass is coming into stride. Everything is studied. It's not sort of this sort of thing where it's, oh no, I'm in trouble, I'm just going to pass. And then next thing, the receiver is facing somewhere else. And then, so you see that kind of a difference, in technical level, that Champions League level. I was actually looking at the squad and thinking, we've replaced quite a few weak minds through the process. And I think that's going to help, for the next step. So hopefully they do it at Chelsea.
Yeah, 100%.
He didn't do one single mistake. At least, he usually has a mistake in him, Fred, but I didn't see one single mistake. He was at it like a pit bull on a bone, right? So I thought he did a great game today, to be honest.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. We can all admit that when we saw Fred in the starting lineup, we all probably put our hands to our head and we were just like, why? McTominay's back from his suspension. Why is he playing Fred? But because Fred obviously he played terrible against Ammonia, he played terrible against Newcastle. I said on my match reaction to the Newcastle game that he needs to check Fred's passport because he's from Stoke. He's not Brazilian. So.
But the entire pressing was spot on today. The whole team, as a team, they were pressing. The defending from attack to the end, right? So that was a brilliant display. And that's the first time I've seen it in full throttle.
Mick, a lot of the times Ten Hag says a lot after the press conferences, we could improve on certain mistakes with our pressing, and that's always because we get opened up like a can of worms quite often in games where it's just like we try press, and then you look back and then you see no one's in the position where they were supposed to be. And I think today there was a little bit more refined, more intricate with that pressing. I think a bit more understanding, probably.
Yeah.
Tottenham are shit. Sorry.
No worries, pal. You've just said that Tottenham aren't very good, but obviously the fourth right now in the league. But who have they actually played this season? Because they've lost to Arsenal, they've now lost to us. Who else have they actually beat? They're grinding out results, and I don't think they've actually played any of the major top teams. And if they have, then they've lost. So you can say Spurs might be ones to drop out the top four. Who knows? But as a whole, we can talk about Bruno Fernandes because I think that he's had a very few shaky months. He's not played well in my eyes all season, and I think that this is a game that he can really work on, and this is like the way for Bruno to silence his haters in a way and his critics. And I'm one of them critics because obviously you want your team to be playing at the best of their performances. So Bruno Fernandes, does anyone want to take on a question about, do you think that he will be as consistent as he was 18 months ago, or do you think he might slip into his lack of consistency yet again?
I don't know if who wants to take that, but I'll have a go, and maybe
Anyone
Stu
take
wants to
it,
take
please,
it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll come in after you, Reece, on that one.
Yeah, Bruno for me. I mean, I've deliberately sort of stayed away from Bruno because we, as United fans, I think we've all been vocal, every single one of us at some point, about this subject. Not with Bruno, but I think generally about bad mouthing players, about jumping on the bandwagon, about picking out certain individuals in performances. Look, we've all just said pretty much there for the last 25 minutes that that was a team performance. And just touch on that very quickly. When you watch that Liverpool-Man City game over the weekend, why after the poor start that Liverpool have had, why did Liverpool put that result in against City? Well, because they worked hard. There was no football's not a very complicated game when at that level, when all it is you need to do is work hard. You just need to work hard, and we worked hard today. The wingers like Sancho and Anthony got back and supported Dalot and supported Shaw. I mean, that run, I think it was 75 minutes, and Shaw made a 25-yard run to overlap on Anthony, which he never received the pass, but now he's encouraged to make a run like that because they're working together as a team. It's hard work, guys, and that's the difference. Now, why that drops off in certain games and not others, I don't know. You can't bottle it. If you could bottle it and drink it before you went onto a pitch, then you would every single time, but you can't. So that's where football's fickle. You've got young, arrogant, young men who play football who you need to motivate and need to encourage to go out there and play to the best of their ability all the time. Ronaldo's knocking on for 40 and he's still petulant, walking down the touchline and down a tunnel. So after scoring 700, goals in his career, it's still not enough. So you're dealing with egos, aren't you? And today we were a team, no egos. Everybody was playing together. In terms of Bruno, unfortunately, somebody has got to be that kind of on that pedestal. Somebody's got to stand above the rest. And when Bruno hasn't got Ronaldo in that team, and he hasn't got, unfortunately, Eriksen in that team, who plays a different, not an arrogant player, Eriksen, but it plays a different sort of style to Bruno. It doesn't mix. It's like oil and water. And so when Eriksen wasn't in that team, Bruno thrived. It was a performance, almost all the strengthened performance and a tactical performance where we saw Bruno when he was under Ollie coming just into that team. But today, more tactically sound performance where obviously we've got a manager who knows what he's doing with the team. And obviously he's got an improvement with having Anthony there on the right and getting the best out of, getting a little bit better out of Rashford today. Obviously having a better back line. So, yeah, Bruno needs to be in a team where he feels as if he's, let's be honest, the best player, doing the best things all the time. And yes, it might not come off, 7 or 8 out of 10. But those times where it does come off, he's banging it in the top corner, or he's picking out a pass that, where Rashford's going to score, or Anthony's going to score, or Fred's going to score, funnily enough now. So, Bruno needs to be playing in a team where he feels like he's the best in that 11. And, there were times today where, he got a bump to the back of the head, which I was like, it was a scrape off Basuma. And he's rolling around, and I'm thinking, Bruno, you're having a good game. Just get up. You don't need to do that. Get up. Stop complaining and whining. You don't need to be involved in this little skirmish. Yeah. But yeah, when he wants to be his quality, he just needs to get a level of consistency now, and that consistency will come with Ten Hag seeing that he needs to play the team that he played tonight, and that's somewhere near his best 11, I would say.
Or Stu, did you say you want to?
Yeah, I'll dive in on this. There's a couple of points really. I think Reece is pretty spot on about Bruno, but the real key to everything at Manchester United in a minute is Casemiro. He's been this linchpin that we've been missing for such a long time. And actually, believe it or not, you will see a much better version of Maguire when he plays with Casemiro in the side because of the simplicity.
Has Maguire and Casemiro played together yet?
No. Well, they probably have, but I think it was earlier on in Casemiro's fledgling Manchester United career. The type of Casemiro you're seeing today and what you saw 6 weeks ago is a completely different player. Completely different. And you will see a much more solid Maguire. You'll start to see a much more solid Fred. You'll start to see a much more solid McTominay and players in and around them. See, when you've got somebody who dictates the tempo, and I've been banging on about this for 3 years now on this channel, when you've got somebody who dictates the tempo, the way that Casemiro does, he can speed it up, he can slow it down, put his foot on it and completely stop the game if he needs to, and he makes it look effortless. Then players around them begin to play their own game. And that's always been the key to football. The key to football is, as a footballer, play your own game. When you don't have somebody like Casemiro in the side, you've then got to start looking, oh, fuck, he's not going to be able to drop me through 2 or 3 yards here. I'm going to have to come and retrieve the ball, etc., etc. You then start playing yourself out of position. You then can't play yourself back into the match if you're having a dodgy 5 or 10 minutes. And this is the thing about a good, solid CDM. As I said, I've been banging about this for years now. Once you've got that in your team, it allows you to relax as a footballer. You know, when you're on that pitch and you're listening to players, well, the most constant word is relax on that football. Relax when you get it. Just chill, and then move it. If you're worried about the ball coming to you, and we've seen this plenty of times with Fred and McTominay and other players that have played, in midfield, it will bounce off your shin. You won't take it cleanly. You pass it, or bobble instead of gliding like it should do. When you've got, as I say, a player like Casemiro who is pointing, he's shouting, he's telling you where he wants you at any one time, it makes everybody's life so much easier. And it's weird that one player can do that. The Martinez-Varane partnership, absolutely brilliant. The Bruno side of it, we spoke, I touched on it before, polar opposites. I've been speaking about this for weeks now, Eriksen and Bruno. Ten Hag will have to make a decision. Hence, I think that's probably why he wanted Frankie de Jong type player to come in.
Yeah, put the ball winning midfielder.
Yeah, if you do get a de Jong type player come in, you can then decide when you rotate Eriksen and when you rotate Bruno.
Exactly.
It's a great thing that we haven't had at our club for such a long time, where you can, rest Eriksen, you can rest Bruno. So I thought Bruno was great tonight. I think everybody's right. I think Fred was good. You are going to start to see a more adventurous Fred and a different type of Fred. Can he keep it up? He's a professional footballer. He should do. There's no canny about it. It's a given. That's what you should be doing. You should be playing at a high level week in and week out. Just touching on Ronaldo, I don't really give a damn. Last year when we went on tour, I was dropped for the first game and I was that fucking angry. I wouldn't take my sunglasses off in the team picture. I was fucking fuming. I like the petulant side of it. Reece is right. He scored 700 goals. I want 701. I want 702, 703. If you're not going to play,
he doesn't set himself a limit in Ronaldo. That's why he's always been one of the best players of world football. And obviously, he is slacking a bit now with his age getting to him and stuff. But he's still one of the world's greatest players.
Yeah, he is. Look, he'll go down as one of the greatest players in the game. Okay, I say that generationally, by the way. I don't see it as ever. I see it from a generational point of view. Because football's evolved, but the bottom line is, if you don't have a petulant player, if I'm a young lad, if I'm someone like Iqbal or Charlie Savage and I'm watching Ronaldo shoot off, I'm thinking, yeah, I get it, because he should want to be playing some kind of minutes. And people can write him off, they can say what they like, Ronaldo circus, blah 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 blah. You're not a professional footballer, lads. You're not in that environment where you live and die by results, you live and die by scoring goals, live and die by wanting to be the greatest footballer you can possibly be.
Speaking of Ronaldo, sorry, Stu, but Ten Hag just said a quote about Ronaldo, and he was asked about the Ronaldo situation. He said, "I'll deal with that tomorrow." So I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but that's what Ten Hag apparently said. So, like you said, you want your player to, like Ronaldo, to be petulant, because obviously he's got 700 career goals for a reason. That's why he's, like I said, been one of the greatest players.
Every player in that dressing room should have that spitefulness about them, that mentality. Every single player in that dressing room. That's why you get to elite level sport.
Yeah. Mick, did you say you wanted to mention something about Bruno?
I see it from a different lenses regarding Bruno, to be honest. I think we as a fan base have set the standards very high for Bruno ever since he came in that January. He was, according to me, the pivotal point of the change that we're seeing today. So he was the piece of the puzzle to start with. Of course, he hasn't had that great of a season. But when I think about it, he's become a leader He's been carrying the captaincy. So basically what we don't see is that maybe his role has been changed and that Erik Ten Hag is playing more disciplined, is getting more stake, is more accountable in certain way. Now, of course, that, you know, you got to pick somebody to blame all the time. It's natural, like, you know, but I try to look at from a different angle to see it as a team performance and what he's actually doing on the pitch. And I can see that, you know, his role has changed. You know, he's not under Ollie. He was giving the free roam, do what you want, like, you know, freestyle, you know, running around. But under Erik Ten Hag, he's more disciplined. Like, you know, okay, I've seen the reduction of the Hollywood passes is more like, you know, taking care of the ball better. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm glad for him that he actually got his goal. I saw the relief when he was celebrating. And, you know, I don't get this player FC agenda, like, you know, amongst the fan base. You know, it is a rebuild. We asked for it over the summer. We got the right manager, according to my opinion. And I just think we should kick on from here. Like, you know, regarding Ronaldo, I think the modern days football is changing. Like, you know, I see those likes like Mbappe, Ronaldo being commodity players. I mean, kudos for scoring 700, but, you know, modern days football is all about team togetherness. You can just look around the different leagues. Even, you know, I think they tried to sort of ship him off definitely over the summer, but nobody wants to, you know, pay the money. You know what I mean? Mbappe also came out, Florian Perez, and, you know, said, no, we don't want him, you know. So it's, you see what I'm trying to get at? Like, you know, it's more becoming of a team sport, like not individual brilliance. And fair play, like, you know, for Erik Ten Hag to daring to bench him, right? You know, just because you're Ronaldo doesn't mean that you have to start. Like, you know, no, it's my team, it's my shape. If you're not, if you're being petulant or doing something extraordinary, he's not getting the extra special treatment just because being Ronaldo. This is just kind of the way I see it. Now, how do we finish this season? Well, I think today was sort of the starting point of something beautiful, right? You know, he's always said when he came in, like in the first preseason, when they were over in, you know, Bangkok and Australia, he was saying, like, you know, it's going to take time, you know, and we as a fan base needs to give Erik Ten Hag time because he, according to my opinion, is got a, you know, he's a prodigy of Sir Alex, like, you know, the way he's conducting himself, the way he's punishing the teams, the way, you know, I don't know. I think if we win a league, you know, we can rename the stadium as Bold Trafford. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, obviously, it'd be really nice to win a league or just any trophy at this point, really, because United have been starving for God knows how long. So, obviously, with a performance like that, if we can kick on and actually perform like this consistently now, do you think United could have a much better season than what everyone predicted at the start of the season?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we are United, so why should we lower down the standards? Like, you know, for me, top four is a must. To win a trophy, there should be, you know, minimum one trophy. If it's Europa League, if it's an FA Cup, you know, we as a fan base deserve it. And I think Erik Ten Hag and the boys deserve it too, because you can see clearly they're putting in a lot of hard work and effort into it.
Yeah, and as you've stated, Mick, you've said that it is going for a rebuild, and I'm pretty sure that anyone really didn't expect much from Ten Hag this season. They knew it was going to be a tough season, and anyone said that either a deep trophy win or coming top four would be an amazing achievement for Ten Hag. I mean, I said United would come sixth place and we'd win the Europa League, and that'd be our best chance of getting European football this season, because I never expected Liverpool to drop off or anything like that. But just moving on now, because obviously we've got to keep the show running. We're 40 minutes in, it's gone flying. But I just want to talk quickly about players' contracts, and Ronaldo can come into this because we've got quite a few players on whose contracts end in the summer. So you've obviously got the likes of David De Gea, Diego Dalot, Luke Shaw, obviously like what the other ones? You've got Fred, you've got Rashford, and you've got Ronaldo. They're the big names, strictly speaking. So do you think that these players will play for the contracts and lower their standards again, or do you think that Ten Hag will drill into them that if you want to have that new contract, you have to stay consistent, or do you think he'll give the players new contracts despite of how they play, just because he needs the squad rotation, should we say? So he needs the players for the rebuild. Long question, but anyone wants to answer it?
You've been quiet, mate. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, feel free, bro.
I'd get rid of Ronaldo in January.
Yeah. I agree.
The whole thing regarding him going off the pitch, for me, I get he's frustrated, but every other player's going to be frustrated they're not playing. But you win as a collective and you lose as a collective. Because all it will do is draw attention to the press conference for the manager about him and him leaving, rather than actually him commenting on how he thought the team played during the game. And I agree with what Ten Hag said about the contracts, that he won't be going anywhere near them until he's assessed the squad until towards the end of the season anyway. I wouldn't keep De Gea. I'd go and get the Porto keeper, Diego Costa.
Yeah.
He's an exceptional young keeper, and he could be a keeper for the next 10 to 15 years. Dallo, if he carries on the trajectory he is, I'd give him a new contract, even though he's got another year we can implement anyway. Shaw, I'd leave Shaw till the end of the season, because for me, Shaw, if the Luke Shaw I saw today is an exceptional left back, my issue with Shaw is you shouldn't require a prominent left back coming in who's young, hungry, and athletic and modern to give you that kick up the arse to suddenly put a shift in.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's what it was like when Telles first joined the club, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that for me is a self-motivation. Self-motivation is the hardest thing to do. That's why people have personal trainers. And he doesn't have that self-motivation consistently week in, week out. It's always in spits and sparts. Rashford, I would again assess him in the new year, because you need to make the culture where if you perform and you succeed in not just your job, but then your job impacts the team in a positive light, the reward at the end of it is you get something if you need a new contract, not just by putting in a 6-week blip or a 6-week block. It's 38 games that you're judged over for me. And if you perform within them 38 games, obviously you've got the cups and obviously everything else on top of that. And if you perform and do what's expected and you show constant progression, both in training, how you conduct yourself on and off the pitch, when it comes to then playing in the first team, because how that impacts on the youth players that are looking up to you and that are training with you week in, week out, because they'll see how you act and your decorum. And if they don't think they will replicate that, because they'll see no difference. If you're not being held accountable, they'll just think, well, if he's doing that, then that's obviously the way to go forward, because he's a first team player on X amount of £1,000 per week. So I completely agree with Ten Hag's stance. It should all be left until towards the end of the season, because that gives the players that fear factor of knowing that, well, actually, I thought this would be a given, I'd get a new contract. Whereas this manager's clearly got carte blanche, and the club are backing him with that and supporting it by allowing him to say what he said. But that's it. I'd get. No, I'm just saying Costa would be the keeper I'd bring in. As much as
I agree
today,
with that.
He's not our keeper moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, with De Gea, I've said that I personally think that the goalkeeping position isn't the massive issue at the moment. I think that we should sort out the outfield positions more first. I feel like you can bring in a young goalkeeper like that Costa guy you've just mentioned, but I personally think David De Gea has an easy 2 or 3 more seasons left in him at Manchester United at the top
100%.
level. So that's just my opinion. So Kai, you said you want to speak about De Gea, so do you want to jump on that?
Yeah. I just have like 2 things to say, but just to add on to this contract thing, I for the first time, I actually quite fancy the fact that, you know, we go into the end of the season and some big players are running out of contract. Can you imagine? For years, it's always been like the guys have been surviving the transfer windows somehow. They've been just surviving them. You know, the Jones, I remember Ashley Young used to survive transfer windows and just get injured just as the bid comes in, he's injured or something like that. So I really like the fact that now everything is coming sort of to a natural end, so that you can have some players also get phased out, because I think we have too many players from 5 different managers that are still around. So I think that's also probably what Ten Hag is thinking. So he doesn't have to make tougher decisions. He can just let them filter out. So I like that. And also, I agree with a lot that Stu says. But Senor, I'm so sorry, but when your behavior is different to everyone else in your team's behavior, not personality, but behavior, and that means how you transmit your personality on the team and for the good of the team, when that struggles and you literally do what he did, like 700 goals then don't mean much because that's
No, true.
how he behaved to get to 700 goals. He didn't behave like this to get to 700 goals. So what's happening now is he's losing his own mental battle. And the thing is, I want to love him again. So I just want him to be like Ibrahimovic and just high five the lads and just enjoy the game, enjoy the last few moments at United. Like that's what I want from him. I want him to be so genuinely happy for Rashford. And I think that will also transmit for himself. Then he doesn't have pressure. Then everyone then plays him everything much more easier. But he's making it so hard. Now he's gonna. I don't know how to feel about it. Anyways, De Gea.
I think you're right there, Kai. But I just need to point out I am an absolute twat when I play football.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. And the thing is, that's totally okay, right? Like, for example, Martinez is a twat, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm a twat.
But Martinez is hugging everyone and then being the twat when you mess up.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm like. And then he's also there for you and he's giving you a massive hug. And, of course, Dalot makes a lot of mistakes and all these lads make mistakes. And I'm sure Martinez absolutely goes into these guys. I'm sure they come to blows and stuff. But there's a way of letting that personality transmit positively.
Agreed.
And that is for me the biggest thing with Ronaldo right now. But anyways, with De Gea, I just wanted to say it's very interesting how tactically Ten Hag has found a few varied build-ups to play with De Gea in the team. So sometimes, and also De Gea has also got that like 2% confidence to play that difficult between the line ball. I've seen him do it a few times now, but you can see it now. So they're now prepared for it. Sometimes it goes short, sometimes it goes long, and then they wait for second ball. So that's nice to see. But De Gea cannot continue. Like, we can't continue to be hamstrung by this thing forever. So I'm just saying, let's move forward in terms of, pro football, like modern football. Let's have what's his name? Diego Silva? Or what's his name?
Costa.
Diego Costa. Yeah. He looks good. Let's have someone who can play some football. Let's have some heart and mouth moments when our keepers do something silly, like playing out from the back. So, I do think De Gea for this season, but after this, it's got to be.
Just a question then, because obviously you majority. So Reece and Stu and Mick as well. Would you say that you'd give De Gea a new contract, or?
I never seen De Gea as a problem. Like, I see De Gea has been our savior for many years, so I don't see the agenda. All right, what I see is the improvement. What De Gea has been working over the summer. He's coming off his lines. He's better with his ball distribution. I was looking at De Gea today. He didn't do one single mistake. The way he was playing out, hitting the targets. We were like first on the ball.
Yeah.
Second.
He wasn't really challenged today, though, was there? So that's where.
But in a way, yes, getting that Diego Costa to bleed him in, to be the understudy under De Gea, it's not a bad thing, right? But De Gea is in his prime, like he's in his 30s, and goalkeepers usually you don't get top-notch goalkeeper at 22, right? Do you?
No, I mean he's 32 on November 9th, I think he is. So Stu and Reece, do you quickly just want to talk about De Gea, because obviously we don't want to drag on this for too long.
Yeah, I'll just jump in quickly. I mean, Reece and Ben and Kai, they all know my position on De Gea, and that hasn't changed. Yes, he has certainly improved this season, but if you give him a new contract in the summer, then he's going to go from 350 grand a week to 400 grand a week, and I don't see the point in doing that. He's not.
If it's just a contract extension, though, why do you need to raise his wages so much if it's just for an extra 2 or 3 seasons?
They'll raise his wages. That's modern football, and I don't see the benefit of extending the salary issue that we've already got.
Yeah, I agree.
So I wouldn't extend his contract. I'm totally in agreement with Ben and everyone else on the panel, but I would bring in Diego Costa. Now, you've got a choice with what you do with that, because we haven't seen Dubravka play yet. Now, Dubravka could play 12 months in the United first team, no problem, while Diego Costa comes in and gets his feet into the Premier League. But, there's a risk with young keepers. It didn't work out for Kepa at Chelsea. He was excellent, prior to coming to the Premier League. Didn't kind of work out for him. But you've got to
work out now, though.
I wouldn't disagree with that. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. But you've got to look at more than just do you keep in between the posts. There's a financial issue for Manchester United at the moment. We're giving out huge contracts still. We've got to make sure that if we are going to extend it, it's for the right reasons. And we extend it for 2 or 3 years, he's going to play for the next 2 or 3 years. My feeling with Ten Hag is he's putting up with him at the minute because he has to. There's no denying he's been an excellent goalkeeper for us. But I'm only just now seeing an ability to come off the line, and that's a massive problem for any centre half. And Kai knows my thoughts on it. So that is Ben, because I've spoken about it for 12 months.
It's just about the basics, Stu. It's just the basics of the goalkeeper. That's some of them that he's missing. Just the real ones that count right now.
Great shot stopper, and I get it. I get the fans, but I wouldn't extend. No.
But can I ask you questions too? Can I ask you a question regarding that? Yeah. So would you extend it if the salary was the same? If United would say, okay, you love the club, you went out to say in the interview that you want to stay, but we will extend your contract for the same wage. Would you then?
I think that if the pay rise isn't too much, I personally would just say give him another 2 years, just so we can get a new Spain's third choice.
He's not even Spain's third choice. He's not even Spain's third choice keeper.
Right.
You're going to reward a keeper that's not even third choice.
The other thing,
that's the national manager's issue, isn't it? I mean, he's losing out a great goalkeeper. That's why Spain are crap.
If you bang him in for an extra 2 or 3 years, I would reduce his wage, by the way. To be honest, down to 250.
350k is way too much whatsoever. I mean,
but it's not only ridiculous. That. You risk losing your number one choice as a goalkeeper, and we've done this before. You risk losing Diego Costa.
Pointless, Stu.
I just personally think that De Gea's got too much value to be going for free. That's just my opinion. That's all. And obviously, his wages are ridiculous.
Sometimes you've got to cut your losses in football.
Yeah, maybe. But just speaking on the goalkeeping situation as well. So obviously, majority of the panel are saying that get rid of De Gea and not extend his contract, and obviously bring this young keeper in, Costa. I've not seen much of him, to be honest. I've not really scouted him on Twitter or social media or anything like that. But what happens to Dean Henderson at that point? Because obviously he's on loan at Nottingham Forest. Do you cut your losses with him as well, or would you let this Costa and Henderson battle it out for the first choice position?
No, I'd sell Henderson as well.
Yeah, he's done his.
How much rope do you want to give these players?
Yeah,
exactly. They've had so much rope; it's been unbelievable.
Yeah,
you can't just consistently go, oh well, we'll give him another chance. Well, when does it end?
Yeah.
By the time you've realised the errors of your ways, you're so far behind the pecking order, and you've lost out on so many players that could come in and be effective immediately and carry you further on in terms of their ability in the modern day. You've lost. Henderson is not the keeper for Manchester United under Ten Hag. Neither is David De Gea. Yes, that he's been a fantastic servant. Well done. But all footballers leave. It's not a bad thing. But it's knowing when to replace them and doing it at the right time and being ruthless about it. You can't be, we'll give him another 2 years. Okay, so you give him a 2-year contract and you bring Costa in, and Costa then gets fed up because he's not playing. What do you do then?
Well, you just rotate, don't you? You just rotate.
Well, he's not going to want to rotate. He's Portugal's number one keeper. He plays week in, week out in the Champions League, Porto.
But that's fair enough. And again, I don't know too much about Costa, so obviously I'll have to, if he's as good as what everyone's saying is, I'll have to check him out then and see what all the hype is about.
He's decent, Dan. He's decent, mate.
Only how old is he? Is he young 20s?
He's 19, isn't he?
No, he's in his mid-20s.
Oh, is he? Right.
Yeah. I like the AC Milan keeper as well.
Is it Mignan? Is that his name? The French
one? Or however you pronounce it. Kai can pronounce it better than me.
I probably cannot.
I hate to say it. I like Ramsdale actually from Arsenal. He's a great goalkeeper.
Yo, guys, can I ask a quick question? Is this how City fans feel every week after a game? Like they just sit on a pod and
I think they get bored of it right now. We probably have some City fans in the comments right now.
Is there any?
There probably will be, because they just always seem to appear, because even though they don't have their own fan channel, do this, so obviously they have to come to the bigger and better Manchester club.
This is pretty calm. We're not angry at anybody.
No. It's a good night to be a
a
United fan right now. That's all we can say. No one's frustrated. Everyone's happy. Obviously,
we are trying to pick up this. We are trying to find some gloom though in the light, aren't we?
We're trying to, because we're just not used to actually bringing it this stature. So
yeah, I mean, just on the De Gea one, Dan. I'll just add 2 penneth on this a little bit, but I mean, the guy has been a loyal servant. I mean, we've just been on about a guy who's we all admire. And I've got a picture of him on my wall. Yeah, Ronaldo. So yeah, we admire him massively, but he's still, with all the respect we've shown him, even these last 2 years, where we've he's had issues at home a couple of times, he's had injuries, and we've stuck behind him in the last 18 months, and yet he's still doing what he's doing, walking down the touchline. Whether you agree with that or whether you think it's a motivation thing on his own level, I don't know. I mean, end of the day, when you walk down the touchline, it sends an image whether you like it or not. So I don't agree with it. And De Gea, fair play to him. He's been a loyal servant, and doesn't help you on a football pitch. But I thought he was good today. I thought he's been good recently. He seems to be improving under Ten Hag, and I quite liked it when when Dalot took one in the face and he stormed out and he was very angry. I was like, wow, who's this? Where's this been? Where's this De Gea been? And he suddenly grew in stature. And I thought, if we can get more of that out of him, is this going to be a keeper we can see going forward? I don't know. I mean, but Yates, he'll keep his cards close to his chest and probably agree with me on this one when I say, is it a case of players putting in performances before when they're coming close to the end of their contracts?
Yeah, that's what I said before about the players just performing extra because of obviously United with the contract situation. But obviously, Mick, we'll get on to you in a moment. You just raised your hand. But I just wanted to talk about what was I going to talk about? And I've lost my train of thought. Mick, do you just go ahead? But I'll think of what I was going to say.
Yeah. No. I stayed. I came a little bit later into the stream because I was watching the after the ref whistle, coming to De Gea, coming to the whole team situation. He was the leader on the pitch, hugging everyone, the youngsters, him and Bruno. You can see that he's definitely. I don't know. I would give him a contract, but not extend his wages. That's it. And then another thing, coming back to Ronaldo, for me, it's all about people and culture and team, and the values. At the end of the day, if you're not there to celebrate with your team, that was a big win, 2-0. You storm out your tunnel. What kind of message do you send, right? So when everyone else is on the pitch celebrating, you're just thinking about yourself and not even going to your ice bath, right? You didn't even play. You didn't even break a sweat. So for me, that's a big no-no. You come together, you leave together, right? So that's the way I see it. All right. So at the end of the day, I think De Gea is a leader. We need leaders. He clearly loves the club. He's been their loyal servant, and as I said, it's not the priority that we need to focus on. We are 1 or 2 transfer windows away to be a complete image of Erik Ten Hag's squad. We need a right back. We need definitely a striker and another midfielder.
Yeah. I mean, with the likes of this comment here about how we don't get deals done, do you think that Erik Ten Hag will want to force the club to get the deals done? But because obviously we don't know if we're getting any players in January. I think we need to because of the lack of depth United have. I feel like you bring in a backup right back and a forward for the January transfer window, and I think that should be enough. Maybe a midfielder as well in case any departures happen. But right now, I feel like the right back for rotation with Dalot and another forward is absolutely key. Needed. But would you allow any young players, so Alanga, Garnacho, Iqbal, would you allow them to go on loan, or would you keep them for rotation just for them little games in case we get I don't know, Luton in the FA Cup or someone like that?
Well, they haven't gone on loan so far, so Eric has probably a plan for them, right? We haven't seen Garnacho play, but we know there's a massive talent in Garnacho. We know Iqbal as well. Savage, Iqbal. We've seen Palestri on the bench as well. So there's a lot of talent sitting and not getting the chances, but there's a reason for it. And I'll tell you what, he wants to collect as many points as possible. Okay, you're not gonna give the youngsters a chance right now when we need to collect as many points as possible before the World Cup, before the break. So, but yeah, definitely. Then in terms of seeing them in a cup matches, which we haven't started playing yet, I would see them more playing in the cup matches. And then we keep forgetting that Donny van de Beek is coming back as well. So
yeah, exactly. That's why I was hesitant on a midfielder, because obviously Van de Beek is still coming back. So I think that Van de Beek will be good enough, because he'll technically be like a new signing because of the lack of games he had under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
And Hannibal is doing great as well, by the way. He's ripping out trees where he on his loan move as well. So we have plenty of midfielders.
Yeah. Just want to pull up this comment here about Hannibal. I've seen him on loan as well. He's doing pretty well. We've got quite a good few loan watches. We've got that left back Fernandez. He plays for Preston.
Yep.
Ethan Laird. We've got quite a few players on good loan spells at the moment. So it's good
Laird,
to see that these players are doing all right. But I just want to quickly talk, obviously, because we want to keep the show rolling, about mentality, because I can't remember who mentioned it, but someone mentioned about De Gea and his mentality change. I think it was you, Reece, wasn't it, where he was screaming because of the lot situation. And with the mentality wise, I feel like there's a lot less toxic United this season under Ten Hag. 100%. We're not getting as many leaks out the dressing rooms and stuff. I feel like United players are starting to become a unit and an actual team now, and I think that's why Man United are doing so well at the moment. But do you want to talk about that? What's your name? Sorry, in the bottom left corner. What's your name? Are you going?
Ben? You talking about Ben?
Yeah, I've got a shoe because I'm at
yeah, that's fine. Just someone just want to quickly talk about the mentality situation.
Yeah, can I see you later, Ben, by the way?
Yeah. See you later,
cheers, guys. See you later. Bye.
No worries, take care.
Mentality situation. Yeah, sorry, Stu.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, mentality situation. Yeah, I mean, it's getting better, isn't it? I mean, that's it. Again, I said it earlier on, didn't I? In terms of like bottling these things, mentality, motivation, confidence. They're all kind of mental attributes to football. Obviously, football's a very physical game. You need to be fast, strong, big, skillful. But like when the mental aspects of the game play a massive, huge role in it. And if you're confident, you've got a team ethic. Everybody's like sort of getting on, all the kind of things that you can't necessarily sort of touch and are tangible, and all play a part. And yeah, the kind of mentality aspect is improving. Ten Hag's obviously working on that as well, and you can see it. I mean, they were high-fiving each other between plays today, all running for each other, all tracking back. You couldn't really pick out anybody for being lazy, which you could quite clearly do in the previous games, even if it was one or two players not tracking the runners or tracking back. So it was a lot better. I mean, yeah, like if you pick out Rashford, for example, just randomly, not picking him on purpose, he's playing in that number 9 position. Yeah, he could have got a few goals. I think technically, from his point of view of maybe finishing ability, he should have been a bit better, but he was getting the chances and he was making the runs and he was getting the opportunities, which you can only ask from a striker. So the mentality of his game, in terms of his willingness to run in behind and get on the end of some of those runs, was a lot better in terms of where it was perhaps 6 months ago. So that's obviously improved. That's a good example of kind of a player who was probably in under a bit of a cloud some months ago. So yeah, it plays a huge role, as well as confidence. Confidence is a big thing. It's a big result. I mean, Spurs are third in the league at the minute with 3 points behind them. We've got a game in hand over Chelsea.
100%.
So it's a massive. We've got West Ham, Chelsea next. We get 4 points out of those next 2 games.
We'll get 6, bro. Keep the faith. We'll get 6.
Well, no one here could ever turn around to us at the beginning of the season and say we were going to get top 4. But if we realistically now, if we get 4 points out of the next 6 in the next 2. You've got to be optimistic. You've really got to be optimistic about those 2 results.
Yeah, of course you have. But I personally think we'll take Potter's Chelsea apart. I think that the way we played tonight, obviously Chelsea drew with Brentford tonight to 0-0. Obviously we've lost to Brentford 4-0, so we can't do any comparisons in that case. But as a whole, I feel like if United, I feel like what is a question for you. So, what is actually, do you think Ten Hag has changed from the Newcastle game to the Spurs game? Because I saw that Spurs and Newcastle played quite similar, where they set up on the counter attack, they played the deep line, and they just tried to keep United out of the game by holding the ball, but they just couldn't do that. So, what do you think has changed over the last few days, where Ten Hag has drilled into his players about what to improve on?
Here's the popular misconception is that gaffers don't drill anything into you. It's up to you to drill that into yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
Tonight I didn't play particularly well. I was rubbish tonight, actually. And the lads were saying, "What was up with you tonight?" Then I just had a bad game. I'll be all right next week. I'll sort it. I'll sort myself out. It's up to you as an individual to sort yourself out. If you walk onto that pitch and you're shite for 90 minutes, the manager can't deal with it. All the manager does, all the guys are doing. We've had this argument many a time about coaching, etc. What they are doing is advising you. So they are telling you how the opposition plays. It's up to you then to ingest that, understand it, and deal with it on the night. It's up to you individually. Kai knows this because I've spoken about him in time. I was taught to play in segments when I was 6 years old. My coach laid the pitch out and he put it together in segments. And here's your quarter. That's where I want you to position yourself. That's where I want you to make sure you live unless you're able to attack. But when you lose the ball, there's a quick turnover. I need you back there. Okay. So he's telling me to do that, but he can't make me do it.
What position do you play, Stu?
I centre half. I played when I was younger and I could run. I was a centre midfielder, a goal scoring centre midfielder, but a CDM. So
you're kind of got like that leadership type role then, don't you, where you can obviously organise your defence and obviously talk to your midfield and forwards. So
like I said to Kai, I'm an absolute twat when I play, because I demand not only from myself, but I demand from the players around me. And that's how you. I've got to choose my words carefully here, but that's what all the top professionals should be doing. If you make a mistake, as a person you made that mistake. But I'm expecting 4 or 5 players to turn around and bollock me about that mistake. Think about what you're doing. Take care of that football. What we did better than I've seen us for a while is we played hide and seek with the football. And Casemiro is moving it. So the players are looking around, where the fuck's the ball? What's happening with it? And that's how you do it. So from a mentality point of view, everything that Reece said is absolutely right. But the players have got to take that responsibility. And I'm going to make Kai laugh now because I'm going to talk about application and attitude because I talk about it all the fucking time. It's all about applying what you're told and having the attitude to apply what you're told. I talk about it all the time, don't I, Kai? I know you laugh at me, but I do. I talk about it because
100%. That's the way it is.
A prerequisite, right? So
it is. It's what defines you as a footballer.
Yeah.
So,
and can I just say, I like that, even that comment with the coaching because. Now I coach an under-19 academy team in my town, and like I realize you tell them to do something, and then they go on the pitch, and then literally 2 seconds in, they're not doing what you said. And the thing is, these are good footballers as well. So people which these are kids which still have a chance of being something in their lives in football. So essentially, they do have. Some kind of a brain, they do have their own skill, but remember, like we're talking about personality, they all have their own personality and they all want to be their own player. So then now you say to them, okay, how do I best make sure your personality fits this whole, scenario? And I think also Ten Hag has really been able to do that with the way he's profiled some players, played them in some positions. And I think, like you're saying, Stu, probably for the first time, United players got a diagram with the position split. And then someone said, hey, yo, Bruno, this is a half space. Hey, this is where you need to be over here. And then when you switch here, you need to move over here. You can actually see the movement.
They've been properly coached.
Yeah, exactly. And that coaching part, and we see all those little clips of the training things where they do these one-touch passing moves.
Yeah, insane.
You have to do that 1,000,000 times. And then your players will be like, I don't, why are we doing the same thing over and over? And then before you know it, it's automatic. And I think that's what we need as a team. We just need to be.
That's why the likes of your Man Cities and Liverpool's are perfectionists.
Exactly.
But obviously, We've gone through the hour now, and it's been a very quick hour. It's gone to 1 hour and 10 minutes now. So obviously we can speak all night. We were in a positive mood. Obviously Manchester United had a very good game. So obviously we'll be calling the show here, lads. It's been a very good stream, 100%. We'll have the preview on the channel soon for the Chelsea game. I'm not sure who'll be hosting that or who'll be on the show, but obviously we'll go ahead and post it on the channel. But yeah, we'll wrap it up now. So yeah, thank you for joining me, lads, tonight on the panel.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, thank you for joining, and yeah, we'll see you all later. So yeah, thank you for watching.
Like and subscribe, okay?
Yeah, like and subscribe. Take care.
Cheers.